In this bleak environment, it's always good to have a nice win, and we have one here in Texas. Looks like we're going to have voter integrity laws. We're going to have laws that restrict critical race theory. We're going to have laws that tighten the noose on abortion. And the reason we're going to have all that is because a whole bunch of the Texas Democrats are back in Texas. Now, three of them are not only back in the state, but they are back in the legislature. And they're trying to put a brave face on it, but essentially they are admitting defeat. They don't like to put it that way, so I'm now quoting one of them. It says, we took the fight for voting rights to Washington, and they go, now we continue the fight on the House floor. Well, there's not going to be a whole lot of fight on the House floor because the Republicans have a pretty decisive majority in both houses. They've already passed, by the way, the voter integrity in the Senate. So it only remains to be passed in the House, and it looks like that's going to happen pretty quickly. Now, you know which side is losing by where the infighting is going on. And sure enough, a whole bunch of Democrats, some of them from out of state, are screaming, what happened? Why'd these Texas Democrats go home? They didn't even tell us. So this is funny stuff. The Texas Democrats had apparently been making the case on a Zoom call that they were having regularly, and a bunch of them were like, listen, enough of this, we need to get back. We are, after all, part of a democratic process. We are, after all, accountable to our constituents. And I guess at some point they decided, listen, there's enough of this kind of discussion. We're just going to get on a plane and go back. And so these Democrats, the come home Democrats, are being vilified. Here's Representative Donna Howard. She goes, this could have been shared with caucus members beforehand. You didn't tell us. Representative Ana Maria Ramos goes, guess what the defecting Democrats have accomplished by going back? And then in all caps, nothing. In other words, they were hoping to keep this going a little bit longer. But no, it's they were not able to convince. They had their meetings, the Texas Democrats, with Kamala Harris, with leading members of Congress. Supposedly, they were trying to use their amazing persuasive powers to convince Congress to pass H.R. 1. H.R. 1 is in serious trouble. I won't say it's dead in the water, but it certainly wasn't advanced 1 inch by the Texas Democrats. No, they had a meeting with Manchin. There was, I think Manchin was sort of gave them a courtesy meeting and then was sort of chuckling afterward. But nevertheless, they're now in Texas, and we're going to get a voter integrity law. And what does it do? Well, it does all the good things that make cheating more difficult. Number 1, video surveillance of drop boxes. Number 2, restrictions on how much campaigning can go on while you're waiting in line to vote. Number 3, there's more time for early voting, but none of this 24-hour voting, none of the fishy stuff that can happen in the middle of the night with the drop boxes. Number 4, criminal penalties for sending unsolicited ballot request forms. In other words, no mass mailing of ballots, of mail-in ballots, in a way where it becomes very difficult to know who filled it out, who sent it in, and so on. So what's going on is there is an effort here to, I'd say, lock the barn door, and maybe the horse got out one time. But it looks like, at least in Texas, there's a recognition that we got to straighten this process out. We've got to perhaps not eliminate cheating, but make it very difficult to cheat. This is why the Texas Democrats were alarmed. Oh, whoa, they're making it more difficult to cheat. Let's get out of here. But they're now back. And like it or not, they're going to have to compete on a level playing field in a state that does want to have voter integrity. And now, finally, it will.